Welcome everyone to another AHA tutorial. My name is Eric and I'm excited. I get to show you three different sections of AHA in today's tutorial. We're going to go over three of the areas we invested in that are critical to everything that AHA helps you to do best. That is, visualize your strategy, connect your strategy to the work you need to complete, and of course, if you're in product management, build lovable products. What you're looking at right here is a pivot table, and it's a review of the last few months of go-to-market launches. So as you can see, we tend to release something about once a week. That's a lot of launches, but it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of great improvements to AHA that we're bringing out every single week. And there's a couple trends that we went over in 2020, and you and I get to look at those together today. So first, we worked on expanding ideas management, and you and I are going to look at proxy voting here together. Secondly, ideas, proxy voting are all about collecting and curating feedback that informs your roadmap. So there's a natural transition to looking at this one here, the ability to build strategic plans, specifically the strategic roadmap. I know that title says showing features on the strategic roadmap, but really there's a lot that happened in that roadmap. I'm excited to show it to you. Once your roadmap is complete and it's all informed by strategy, it's great to share that with the people who are affected by your strategy. So our third theme of the year so far is presenting beautiful roadmaps with AHA presentations. And you and I will look at presentations themes. This is actually a launch that came from you. This is one of your ideas and it's worked out great. I'm excited to wrap up with this one. We're going to cover a lot in this tutorial. So for each section, I'm going to hit on 3 points. We'll go through each section the same way so nobody gets lost. And here's the 3. First, I'm going to set the stage. Then I'm going to show you what's changed. And finally, I'm going to let you start using it. So set the stage. I'll recap the big idea, kind of define what it is we're talking about, show you what's changed. I'll talk about why we made the improvements we did and what's new. And I'll actually show it to you using Fredman Cycling, our demo workspace, which you also have access to if you want kind of a sandbox environment. Finally, I'll let you start using it. So I'll show you how to enable the feature or just where to navigate to use it yourself. Everything we're talking about today is available to you if you're a paying AHA customer or if you're a trial user. Those are full functional trials. So please make use of all these features and please write down questions and interact with our customer success team. If you have any questions, it's always great to hear about folks who are trying to figure out how to solve sophisticated problems by using AHA. Those are the favorite conversations we have, and our customer success team at support@aha.io responds super fast within 2 hours, any time of the day, any day of the week. Okay, let's get going, and we'll jump into ideas first, expanding ideas management. I'll jump you in here to an ideas portal. So remember how we're going to look at this. First, I'm going to set the stage. Then I'm going to show you what's changed, and then you can start using it. So let's set the stage. You're looking at an ideas portal, and ideas have been around as long as AHA has. And ideation, idea management, is the process of collecting and curating feedback. Now, at AHA, we did not invent feedback by any stretch of the imagination, but we've perfected a way to use that feedback, because really an idea is useless unless you can do something with it. So in AHA, an idea is a record type, just like a feature is a record type, just like an epic or an initiative. And just like any record type, you can see that they've got titles and descriptions. You can add a status. This is really useful for communicating to people who are invested in your work. And you can comment on them, have discussions. So these discussions are all with people who submitted the idea or who subscribed to it, who are interested in it. It really helps you as you're curating these ideas to get down on what the actual need is and how you can best solve it. What you're looking at is a public ideas portal. It's actually our ideas portal. This is the AHA ideas portal. And this is a good time to plug that. This URL right here, big.ideas.aha.io. This is open to the public. A lot of what you're going to see today actually came from this portal. It came from conversations with the thousands of people who use AHA. So I'd encourage you, if you've got something that you think is a great idea, or you've got a new problem you're trying to solve, drop something in here, because we use AHA just like you use AHA. And so some of the best ideas here get turned into parts of our roadmap, because just like ideas are a record type, you can convert them to other record types. We actually call this promoting an idea. So the best ideas get promoted to features or epics or initiatives, and they become part of the roadmap. For example, capacity planning here, we launched earlier this year. This is a follow-up idea that someone's interested in talking about, which is pretty fun. Okay, that sets the stage in ideas. A little bit about ideas portals. Actually, let me say a little more about it. There are 2 basic types of ideas portals, public and private. You're looking at a public one right now, which means that anybody who has that URL, once again, big.ideas.aha.io, please go there. Anyone with that URL can access the portal and submit feedback and have conversations and get notifications as their ideas or the ideas they've subscribed to move through the development cycle and actually become real living features. The other type of ideas portal is called a private ideas portal right here. And a private ideas portal is available to a subset of people. So only people who maybe have a specific email domain or a list of users you want to invite, beta users, partners, that sort of thing. Or maybe they're part of your single sign-on integration. So if they're part of your SSO, they can get in here. And it's a way to focus that feedback a little bit. Public and portal ideas coexist very nicely on the back end. I'll show you this in a minute. When you're reviewing ideas, you review all the ideas in one place, because kind of imagine a room full of ideas. You get to wade in and see all the ideas and promote or groom the best ones, start some discussions. But for people who access your idea through these portals, it's kind of like looking into windows from that room. So public ideas, people can see almost everything except for private ideas. So things that were submitted privately. That'll become important in just a minute, because one of the great uses of a private portal is for your internal teams to submit feedback on behalf of someone else. For example, sales and support teams interact with customers and users and prospective customers a lot. They know your product really well, and so they're uniquely placed to be able to provide really intelligent context when they submit ideas. And we've always had the ability for you to submit ideas on behalf of somebody else. We've had a long-standing integration with Zendesk or with Salesforce for support and sales teams, respectively. But this half of the year, we added this, which is the ability not just to vote on an idea, which ups the number there, but to add a proxy vote. And a proxy vote is a little bit different. By the way, we're now moving out of the set the stage part, and I'm now showing you what's changed. This is all new. So if you're ready to get excited, if you're not excited yet, this is the time. A proxy vote is a little different. Here's the vote count, and here is a new tab called Proxy Votes. You can see that instead of just a number, in fact, let me show you the form here, proxy votes require a little more information, which is really useful information, which again, those internal teams submitting ideas on behalf of someone else are just perfectly placed to provide. First of all, proxy votes require an organization. That's new, because remember, we're submitting on behalf of someone else. So an organization, in this case, I've constructed them kind of like companies, but you could have this mean something else, whatever it means to you in your own account. Most people, it's companies. I need to submit it on behalf of someone else. So that's Big Cycle Company here. That's required. Optionally, though, I could drill down a little bit more and have it focused on a particular contact, a real person, Rafa here. Might have had that idea. I could add multiple contacts here, create a new one if I want to. And then the other required aspect of a proxy vote is the description. So again, because of the perspective of those internal teams, we want to have that context from them, and they can provide some flavor right here that will really help me, the product manager, as I'm reviewing these ideas in my backlog. That comes in. And then this is a form, just like any form in AHA, literally any form in AHA. You can customize the fields here. So I've added in a value field that'll show off a dollar amount, which is nice, especially for prospective customers to see kind of what revenue's behind if we enable this idea or promote it to a feature. And I've added a simple priority field here. This could be t-shirt sizes. This could be high, medium, low, just something to give product managers a sense of the need for the idea here. And here's what proxy votes look like in the portal. Now, since these are votes I submitted, I get to see them. And it also is important to note that Big Cycle Company, Rafa, these people are not going to get notifications on the idea. I'm going to get notifications on the idea. I submitted the vote on behalf of someone else, but still I submitted the vote. Again, this is with those internal teams in mind. So when I have my quarterly business review with Big Cycle, or when I'm talking to Rafa next, I can just pull up a quick report and see what the progress of his most important ideas are. That really helps me with my interactions with the customers, and I don't have to join an AHA account and learn the ins and outs of AHA to do that. I can do this from just the simple ideas portal. Of course, as sales and support, I'm welcome in AHA. You can make that choice yourself, but we're making it very easy for people to submit ideas on behalf of each other. Again, just to help you curate and collect that feedback. This is what an ideas portal looks like when it has proxy votes. Let's show you a little bit what it looks like on the back end here. I'm going to click over to the ideas list page. So if you're following along at home, I went up to the ideas menu and clicked on list. And this shows me a list of all the ideas that I have in my workspace from all the different portals that I might have enabled. Again, to make it easier for you to curate through these, this is all in one list. So of course, just like any list report, I can filter these and I can click into them. I say this quite a lot, but it very much bears repeating. Reports and roadmaps in AHA are not static documents. They're living documents. So we want you to be able to click into other record types and get any context you need, actually change any of the details in here if you need, and it'll be immediately reflected on the roadmap or the record type. You can see this is customized home screen. This is the same idea we've been talking about, created by Michaela, and the form looks a little different. That's on purpose. If you use ideas portals, you likely do this. This is a different form that you can customize because you might have internal tags or other information you want to capture here that's not important for outside for people in the portal to be able to see. You can see here I've got the votes, I've got an admin response, and then here's that proxy votes table. So these are the votes here that we saw submitted before with that revenue number that's now been totaled, summed down at the bottom. About 200,000 American dollars projected revenue if we consider this idea. That definitely helps me if I'm reviewing ideas to make that case for implementing them. A couple other things to note here, that proxy votes are not just a type of vote, they're actually something that you can report on. I could click this link and open up a pre-built list report, or I could build my own custom list report on votes or on organizations. I can import organizations if you have a list of prospective customers. And then this plays really nice with existing integrations. If you have an integration with Zendesk or a Salesforce, those are proxy votes. Those are on behalf of other folks. And so you'll see those in here as well. And by the way, you can see, if you remember back on the last screen, let me just show you. I've got two proxy votes, right, for Big Cycle and Crankshaft. Over here in the ideas list page, when I'm the product manager reviewing the idea, I'm seeing the vote created by Rose as well. So I can see everything if I'm in AHA because I need all that context. Whereas if I was from an internal team, I just need the votes that I submitted so I can respond to my own customers or prospects or anything like that. This also helps protect any sensitive information. So again, we are talking about actual customers here or actual prospects. This description field might share some sensitive information about what their executives are interested in. And so that's one reason this isn't in a public portal. And it's another reason why this is something where I, as the vote submitter, only see the votes that I've submitted, just to protect your end user's privacy without holding you back from helping them out. Okay, this is proxy votes. Let me show you the third part of our format here. Remember, we're setting the stage. I'll show you one more thing that's changed. And then I'm going to set you free to start using it. This is something that's available to any of you, any private ideas portal. In fact, let me click in here to the customer feedback portal. I think that's the one we're using. By the way, I got here in the account settings by navigating up to this gear icon, clicking on account settings, and then scrolling down to idea portals. So any administrator with customization permissions has access to this page. They can create and manage ideas portals. And then I clicked into the customer feedback portal here. Okay, to enable this in one of your portals, there's two things you need to click. First is to click private right here, again, to protect your customer's privacy and also your internal team's privacy, some of the information being saved there. This doesn't limit you, the product manager, the AHA user, from being able to see all the ideas. It just protects those end users. So select private, that's number one. And number two, scroll down here to proxy voting and click to allow portal users to create votes on behalf of others, that little radio button. And that's it. Once you mash go on this button, update all the portal settings, your ideas portal is instantly updated, and you can start giving out that URL or inviting users to it, or alerting people who are part of your single sign-on integration that they can start submitting votes on behalf of other users. That's proxy voting. We're really proud of it. There's a lot of other little updates to ideas management that have either taken place in the last couple months or are planned for the rest of the year. So stay tuned here. Please keep using ideas portals, and we'd love to hear your feedback. This is a pretty powerful way to connect you with some of the feedback from some of your most interested parties. We're really excited to see the sort of things you can build with this information. Okay, let's move on. We've done our three things, right? We set the stage. We saw what changed. You're ready to start using it. It's time to move on to the second section of AHA I'm going to show you. And remember, that is about building strategic plans, building your roadmaps. So we'll click over here. And what you're looking at right now to set the stage for you is a roadmap, a strategic roadmap. So AHA, first and foremost, is a strategic planning, a road mapping software. It's a way for you to visualize your strategy. It actually helps you create strategy as well, and then helps you connect that strategy to the work you need to do to meet those strategic goals. And this strategic roadmap has been around for quite a while. Back in the day, this is a bit of a flashback. Originally, the strategic roadmap was just initiatives, and it showed you a high-level view. You're actually seeing initiatives right here, so teams could visualize and then report on how their initiatives were progressing. So it was a really good talking point, super high level. And let me show you what's new, because it's quite a lot, including the shape and the colors of the bars you're seeing right now. But let's talk about some of the big things. What we've added primarily is the ability for you to drill down into the record types that inform that high level view. So first of all, you can see releases. And if you're not familiar, releases are ways to, they're containers for the work you need to complete. They're all organized around a release date. So this is when different releases of functionality are coming out into production if you're in a traditional product management environment. You can also open an initiative here, clicking this little drop down, and see both features and epics. So features are that fundamental unit of work. This is what you need to complete one by one to reach those strategic goals. And epics down here are ways to organize your work, organize those features by theme. So we've got a payment processing epic here. We've got an interactive mapping epic. One of the things we added to this roadmap, in addition to just the ability to see these other record types in the roadmap, is the ability to use colors to highlight different aspects of the roadmap. So right now I have this colored by initiative, which highlights the differences in the different initiatives I'm talking about. If I expanded more than one of these, you'd see more than one of those colors. Let me jump up here to the customize view menu, that gear menu. Anytime you see a gear menu in AHA, it's a sign of something good. So I go ahead and click down into it. And instead of coloring bars by initiative, let's color the bars by record type. And you can see it update. So I'm not great with colors, but this sort of light purplish mauve business here denotes initiatives in this workspace. Blue, I'm good at blue, denotes features, and then the purple down here denotes epics. It's a way to highlight the differences between the record types if we want to focus on different levels of the roadmap. I should also explain, if you're new to AHA, maybe you've got a trial started, I should explain how these records get onto the roadmap at all. This roadmap by default will show you any initiatives and any records linked to those initiatives. And what I mean by that is this. Let me open up this feature here, analysis of personal race goals. You can see on the feature form, I have a way to link this feature to a goal and a way to link it to an initiative here. This is called the red thread of strategy. It's that very visible thread that you should be able to see from the very top high-level initiative work, strategic work, all the way down to feature and requirement levels, those fundamental units of work that you need to complete. And this is not only a way to give context to anybody that's working on this feature, to show them why they're doing what they're doing. In fact, just like anywhere in AHA, I could click out to see details on that initiative or details on that goal. But it also links these records inexorably to each other and allows them to appear right here on the roadmap. So that's why you've got features and epics under this analytics initiative there. If you are trying to use this roadmap and you see one being really empty, this is probably the case. We probably have records that aren't linked to those strategic record types, which is actually a really good exercise. Before you start getting really busy and being excited about being busy, it's good to know why you're doing what you're doing, and this is an exercise in that. Don't worry if you have hundreds or thousands of features, you don't have to link them all one by one. You can jump up to the features list page or the roadmaps list report. You can create custom list views, kind of like spreadsheets, only much more powerful in either of those screens. And you can bulk edit. So you can get a selection of all the features that should link to one initiative and then bulk edit to link them all at once. Features can be both part of an initiative and a release. So they're organized strategically. They can be organized around a release date, and then they can also be part of an epic here as well. So organized by theme. It's just different ways to view the same work and to track the progress of that work throughout the life cycle. Okay, a few more things to show you here. Let's jump back up to this Customize View menu. You can see that I can optionally hide any of these record types. This roadmap is here to tell a story, and if these record types don't add to that story, then of course go ahead and hide them and remove them. You can change the colors here. You can adjust dates or add or hide assignees. You can also show progress. Now, by default, if you're using progress calculations in your workspace, you're going to show it on the roadmap, but I hid it so that I could click it here and show you the difference. All of a sudden, we have these two-tone bars showing how much a record type is progressing towards completion. Let's click back in here to analysis personal race goals. So this one has a few requirements on it. You can see 3 of the 4 are completed, which gets us a 75% completion rate. The neat thing about progress calculations, in addition to this, just being able to calculate off of all the requirements or to-dos or the different calculation methods there, including the ability to enter it manually, is that progress can roll up. So you can see that this initiative has some completion on it. And you can see from this top level here, here's all the records that are linked to the initiative. I have this set to calculate from the number of features completed. So as people complete features that are linked to this initiative, that will tick up this progress calculation and even show you in the tooltip there that that's based on 9 features total and the completion percentage of each of them. That means that I don't have to expand this initiative if I don't want to show how things are progressing. I can actually look at it still from this traditional initiative level view and see at a glance how things are progressing. This is a second half initiative roadmap, so this is actually pretty good. If we're 22% through our first initiative, that's just doing great. We're going to make it by the end of the year there. Okay, a couple more things to show you as I'm showing you what's new again. This functionality is very similar to the Gantt chart if you liked the new Gantt redesign. In fact, if you want to hear my voice again and you're interested in looking at another tutorial, we did a tutorial on the new Gantt, the releases Gantt view, which helps you manage and plan cross-functional projects. Find that on our support site. It's probably in your suggested videos at the end of this one, or scroll over to the Gantt view and take it for a spin yourself. It'll look very similar to this strategic roadmap. Just like on the Gantt, you can create dependencies between records. And just like on the Gantt, you can click and drag to move records around and adjust their dates on the back end. This is not just a visual roadmap. Again, this is a living document. And you can see it turn red there if there's a dependency conflict. Maybe the same software engineer is going to be working on these 2 features, and so one has to be completed before the other one can start, or maybe there's architectural dependency there. All that means is that pushing the dates like this and seeing that conflict, I can, in June right now, address a conflict before it ever comes up in August, which is a really powerful way to use this roadmap, not just for presenting on your plans, but also for actually doing some work and adjusting those plans to be realistic so you can meet those strategic goals. Okay, last thing I'll show you here is you can click these blue pluses to show any features or any record types that you've hidden from the roadmap. So I could have features in here or epics that are just useful to have in the initiative and in the release, but they're not useful for the conversation, the strategic conversation, so I can hide them and remove them from the roadmap just like that. They still exist, someone will still work on them, but they're not part of the story I'm using this roadmap to tell. And I can show them back again if I want to. Even rename them on the fly. That's just a little click rename update. We want to make it really easy for you to update records here without leaving the roadmap itself. Anytime you have to go to another page or open another tab, you lose context a little bit. So you see I've been opening and closing this feature quite a bit. If I adjusted any of the data on this feature and that affected how it would appear on the roadmap, it would just update. So you can use these roadmaps, again, not just for presenting, not just for doing actual project management work, but if these roadmaps highlight a gap in your data or something that needs to be updated, you can adjust the data and then with one click get right back to the roadmap view that you're looking at right there. The last thing I'll show you is the ability to align parent records with their visible child records. So that means if I had features way out here, you can see that now I've got a feature set to end after the initiative was slated to end, and that could be totally valid. It could mean that I need to have a discussion about how long this initiative is going to take and adjust it, or it could mean that I need to speak with engineering and talk about when we can actually get to the live dashboard feature and kind of rein it in a little bit. There's a couple different ways to adjust this apparent discrepancy. One of the ways to do it is to click up here to the parent record, click to align with visible children, and then you can see that that end date for the initiative just aligned with that kind of outward feature right there. If you're confident about your feature dates and your parent record dates, in this case initiatives, are flexible, then that align with visible children is really useful. Okay, that's everything that's new. That's a quick spin through everything that's new. Definitely look at the more support articles or reach out to support@aha.io if you want to discuss this more. This is one of our most interesting and frankly, one of our most popular roadmaps. So we have a lot of experience in here and a lot of really meaningful conversations talking about how you can think about your strategy and connect it to your work. That's everything you're seeing right here. Okay, I've set the stage a little bit. I showed you what's new. Now let's show you how to start using it. And this one's pretty simple. Nothing to enable, just jump up to the roadmaps menu here and click on the strategy roadmap. As I said, strategy roadmap's been around for a while, but it got such a major overhaul over the last few months that we felt comfortable putting that new tag back in it because it is, and those of you who have been using it for years will probably agree with me, it is a new roadmap. Okay, that takes care of the second section here. We looked at ideas portals, how to collect and curate feedback. We've looked at strategic roadmaps, how to build those strategic plans. And now let's talk about what you do when you have this roadmap looking just the way you like it. I'm going to change these colors back actually, because I think that looks stunning. And really, roadmaps, in addition to something you work in, are also for sharing, right? This expresses a narrative. It visualizes your strategy, so it's worth sharing that with the people who either contribute to or are affected by your strategy. And to do that, I will go up here and save the roadmap, and then I can add it to a presentation by clicking the Share menu here and clicking Add to Presentation. And what that does is, instead of opening another slide deck presentation software and after I've created this roadmap, exporting it, importing it, adjusting it, this just adds it as a slide in the presentation on the background, which is really useful if you're going through several roadmaps or different reports. You can just be tossing those into a presentation as you work and then just make minor adjustments to the presentation when you actually open it. So let's click over here to one that we've created earlier. It's just wonderfully put together, and it really shows off kind of the best that presentations have to offer. So let's start with setting the stage. You have brilliant plans. We've just gone through how ideas inform them and how roadmaps can visualize them. And many of you asked for a way to share those, the answer to which is AHA Presentations, what you're looking at right now. This is a kind of a slide deck interface. You might be familiar with that. And you can present this as a full screen. You can annotate these slides, adjust the styling, everything you're kind of used to there. But a lot of you told us through ideas and conversations that you wanted a way to drive consistent branding of your slides and of your presentations, so that as a team you can, or as a company, you can give consistent styling and drive a brand there as you create a presentation. You can see this one has a teal color to it. It's got that gorgeous cherry Fredwin coloring logo down there in the footer. And it has this. This is oftentimes boilerplate, but very important. If this is an internal presentation, then I want to be able to make sure that everybody knows on every single slide that it is confidential. The need there was you want to have a way to share your plans, and then you want a way to make it consistent. The answer to that, let's move on to showing you what's changed, is presentation themes. Everything you're seeing right now is a theme, and I'm going to show you a lot. And I'm very excited about it. First off, if you've used presentations in the past, you know that footers didn't exist before. It was just headers. Now there are footers as well, which is fantastic if you were creating a lot of footers kind of manually. But let me show you what all goes into a theme. So when I'm on a slide but not clicked into any view or anything, I can see this themes tab here. I'll click to edit the theme, the slide themes. And you can see I've got two theme slides here. I've got a title and a body. And what I put in here will be reflected in every title and body slide I add throughout my presentation. So the idea here is to provide anybody who uses this presentation theme the ability to customize up to a point and be consistent with the brand from there on out. It's the best of both worlds, the way to be consistent and also still customize and creative. Because the nice thing about presentation themes is you can share them. So this theme, let me close out of the theme editor here, go back to the theme tab, is shareable. I click this, I've already shared it, which means any presentation that uses this presentation theme will have access to this same branding. And I mean, that's fun because everybody can access the presentation theme. But the thing that really excites me is if I needed to change the presentation theme, I don't need to go change 50 different presentations. Let's say we don't like that beautiful cherry red logo and we want to change it. A logo change could be catastrophic for the poor person who has to adjust every single presentation. Well, no, if you're using a presentation theme, then once I update this logo or any of the styling, it's automatically reflected in any of the presentations who are using that theme. So this is new. This is very new. I encourage you to play around with it. A couple other things to show you here. Not part of presentations themes, but as long as we're talking about presentations, they're kind of fun. First is down here. You can see tables. These are the same tables that you use in the AHA text editor with the same exact functionality. You can see that I can add a background color. I guess I could rotate them if I want to, but I can add any sort of styling in there. So that's useful. Tables are a very useful tool for communicating information. It's nice to have them in presentation slides. And then image cropping as well. You see here, I've got avatars. I've got here my actual team members. I'm literally putting a face on the launch team. And I can crop the image, change the shape of it, turn it into a square or back to a circle there, which I think looks a little nicer. And if I make a mistake, it's fine. I can just reset the image. So make use of these anytime you upload an image, whether it's a person's face or a static image of a view or a screenshot, something like that, like this nice Fredwin cyclist down here at the bottom. That can be cropped and rotated and arranged and reset if you need it to. That's presentation themes. To start using this, again, there's nothing for you to enable. You all have access to presentation themes already, which is fantastic. To do this, jump up to the roadmaps dropdown right here and click presentations overview. That'll take you to the presentations dashboard, or anytime you want to create a presentation, sometimes it's easiest just to create that plus button right here and start a presentation. The third way to create a presentation, because I want to give you a lot of options, is the one that you and I just saw together, and that is on a view like this, which you know should be in a presentation. You can click this add to presentation button and either add it as a slide to an existing presentation or create a new one right from here, which means if you're going through a couple different roadmaps, you can just start creating them as slides in the background so you don't have to recreate your work as you go through. That's your add to presentation button. And this is pretty much it. These are the three sections of AHA that we vastly improved over the last few months. There's many more little places that we improved. In fact, if you're interested in that at all, let me show you a trick of the trade, which is this question menu. If you use this question menu, you're probably familiar with contextual help. Anytime you're on an AHA page, these support article offerings will be customized contextual to that page, so they're pretty useful. You can also, of course, get help from one of our AHA experts there. Like I mentioned, they're all absolute product experts. They love talking about these sort of problems and they respond very, very quickly. You can also click this, and this is the What's New button. It's on every page. It'll take you over to our support site where you can see two things. First is the release notes, all the release notes. I, or one of the product marketers, put these out every Friday. So every Friday we show you not only what we released that week as part of a go-to-market, but also any improvements, and sometimes these are fantastic or fixes along the way. The other thing you can see here is the system broadcasts, which are those little pop-ups that show up in AHA. If you ever closed those and didn't mean to and wonder what was in them, then we've got them here by date with the actual link that was originally in the system broadcast. And this brings me to the blog. This is not a go-to-market launch, but here in marketing, we're very excited about it. This has been a labor of love of the last couple of months to redesign the blog. You can see the go-to-markets here. And the final thing I'll show you is if I click over to the blog, here's what just launched on the 17th. We also have these collections. And this is really useful, especially if you have new team members coming on, or if you want to stay abreast of the latest product launches. This collection here we put together always has the latest 10 or so product launches. If you just came back from a 10-week vacation, congratulations, then you can see what's new right here. Each of these blog posts will show you how to use the thing, kind of some best practices, and then a place to ask questions or leave comments if you've got them. And that's the roundup. This is everything we've put together over the last few months. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have any questions, again, support@aha.io will get you to our customer success team. And if you have any ideas, big.ideas.aha.io is our public-facing ideas portal. We'd love to interact with you on either of those. Thank you so much for watching.